Think you know Clint Eastwood's Cars Inside Out? The legend with the piercing gaze and soft voice who redefined the term badass? Well, hold on tight, because I'm about to reveal the 15 rarest cars in Clint Eastwood's insane collection that will leave you speechless. While Hollywood's elite were snapping up Ferraris and Lamborghinis, Dirty Harry was secretly amassing a collection of American muscle cars so incredible that they'll make your heart race. These are ultra-rare cars, some of which are so exclusive that there are only a handful of them on the planet. And in the craziest part, almost no one knows what else is still hiding in his garage today. Hold on tight, because number 7 on this list will turn everything you thought you knew about this icon upside down. Number 15, the 1958 Jaguar XK150S Roadster. Now I know what you're thinking, wait a minute, that's not American. And you're absolutely right. But here's the thing about Clint that separates him from your average collector: the man appreciates pure driving excellence, no matter where it comes from. In this British beauty? It's the exception that proves the rule. The XK150S wasn't just any Jaguar. This was the hot rod version, the one that Jaguar built when they decided to stuff their most powerful engine into an already gorgeous body. We're talking about a 3.8-liter straight-six that pumped out 265 horsepower, and in 1958, that was supercar territory. Only about 150 of these roadsters were ever made with the S specification, making it rarer than a polite conversation in New York City. Clint picked this one up back in the early 70s, right around the time he was filming Dirty Harry. Story goes, he spotted it at a small dealership in Carmel and fell in love with the lines. The owner didn't even know what he had thought it was, just another old Jag. Clint knew better. He drove it off the lot for a song, and it's been part of his collection ever since. The man understood that sometimes, you've got to appreciate craftsmanship, even when it comes with a British accent. Number 14, the 1992 GMC Typhoon. Here's where things start getting interesting, folks. While everyone else in the early 90s was obsessing over exotic supercars, Clint was paying attention to something way cooler: a turbocharged SUV that could embarrass Corvettes at stoplights. The GMC Typhoon was basically General Motors saying "hold my beer" to the entire automotive industry. They took a compact SUV, bolted on a turbocharged V6 making 280 horsepower, added all-wheel drive, and created a monster that could hit 60 miles per hour in 5.3 seconds. In 1992, that was faster than a Ferrari 348. Let that sink in for a second. A small SUV from GMC was outrunning Italian supercars. Only 4,697 Typhoons were ever built, and Clint's is one of the few still in completely stock condition. He's got it in black because of course he does, and he's been spotted driving it around Carmel Valley more than once. The locals probably think it's just another old SUV. Little do they know they're watching a piece of performance history roll by. Number 13, the 1955 Chrysler 300C. Now we're getting into the territory where Clint's taste really shines. The Chrysler 300C wasn't just a car, it was a statement. This was Chrysler's answer to everyone who said American cars couldn't handle, couldn't perform, and were only good for cruising down straight highways. Under that massive hood sat the legendary firepower Hemi V8, displacing 331 cubic inches and cranking out 300 horsepower. That number might not sound impressive today, but in 1955, it made this the most powerful production car in America. Chrysler knew they had something special, so they kept production limited. Only 1,725 examples were built, and finding one today in good condition is like finding a needle in a haystack made of needles. Clint's 300C is finished in that classic black and white two-tone that defined 50s luxury. He reportedly bought it from an estate sale in San Francisco back in the 80s. The previous owner had kept it garaged for decades, barely putting miles on it. Clint saw it as his responsibility to preserve a piece of American automotive dominance. This was the car that proved we could build world-class performance machines wrapped in style and luxury. Number 12, the 1949 Mercury Coupe. You can't talk about classic American metal without mentioning the 49 Merc. This car became the foundation of hot rod culture, the canvas that customizers turned into rolling works of art. But here's what makes Clint's example special: it's completely stock. In a world where everyone was chopping tops, sectioning bodies, and painting flames on everything, Clint had the vision to preserve a Mercury exactly as it rolled off the assembly line. The flathead V8 is original. The interior is untouched. Even the hubcaps are the factory units. Finding a 49 Mercury in this condition is practically impossible today because so many were modified. This wasn't a car Clint went looking for, it found him. Back in the mid-70s, he was scouting locations for a film in the Central Valley when he spotted it in someone's barn. The owner had inherited it from his father and had no idea what to do with it. Clint made him an offer on the spot. He understood that sometimes the bravest thing you can do is leave perfection alone. Number 11, the 1972 Ford Gran Torino Sport. Speaking of leaving things alone, let's talk about this beauty. Now, the Gran Torino became famous thanks to Starsky and Hutch, but Clint's relationship with this car goes deeper than Hollywood. The 72 Sport model wasn't the most powerful year. Ford had already started detuning engines to meet new emission standards, but it represented something important, the last gasp of the muscle car era. Under that hood, you could still get a 351 Cleveland V8, and if you ordered the right options, you got a suspension that could actually handle curves. Only about 15,000 sport models were built in this configuration, making it far rarer than most people realize. Clint's is finished in grabber blue with laser stripes, exactly as Ford intended. He's told friends that this car represents a turning point in American automotive history, the moment when freedom and power started giving way to regulation and responsibility. But man, what a moment it was. The Torino could still light up the rear tires on command and make enough noise to wake the neighbors 3 blocks away. Number 10, the 1970 Oldsmobile 442 W30. Hold on to your hats, because this is where Clint's collection goes from impressive to absolutely insane. The 442 W30 wasn't just a muscle car, it was Oldsmobile's middle finger to anyone who thought they were just building cars for your grandpa. The W30 package was Oldsmobile's secret weapon. They took the already potent 455 cubic inch V8 and added all the good stuff: hotter camshaft, aluminum intake manifold, forced air induction, and special exhaust manifolds. The official rating was 370 horsepower, but everyone knew that number was pure fiction to keep insurance companies happy. Real-world dyno tests showed these things were making well over 400 horses at the crank. Only 2,933 W30 cars were built in 1970, and Clint's is one of the even rarer convertible models. He found this one in Oregon back in the 90s, sitting under a tarp in someone's garage. The owner had bought it new, drove it for 3 years, then parked it when gas prices went crazy. It had less than 30,000 original miles. Clint flew up there, took one look, and wrote a check. The car still has the original Sebring yellow paint and the numbers matching drivetrain. It's a time capsule from when American performance was measured in cubic inches and 0 to 60 times. Number 9, the 1933 Ford Roadster. Now we're going way back, but not in the way you might think. This isn't some restored hot rod with a modern engine swap. Clint's 33 Roadster is a genuine, unrestored survivor that still wears its original flathead 4-cylinder engine. In 1933, America was deep in the Depression, and Ford was building cars that people could actually afford. The Roadster was their sportiest offering, a lightweight, open-top 2-seater that could hit 65 miles per hour and return decent fuel economy. But here's the thing, most people who bought these cars drove them into the ground. Finding one that survived is rare. Finding one that's never been modified or restored? That's almost unheard of. Clint acquired this one from an estate in Northern California. The original owner had bought it new, maintained it meticulously, and kept detailed records of every service visit. When Clint got the car, he found the original purchase receipt still in the glove box, $525, paid in cash. He's kept that receipt with the car as a reminder of what Americans were willing to sacrifice for the freedom of the open road, even during the toughest economic times. Number 8, the 1956 Chevrolet Nomad. Here's where Clint's appreciation for design really shows through. The '56 Nomad wasn't the fastest car Chevy built, and it wasn't the cheapest. What it was, though, was possibly the most beautiful wagon ever created. Chevrolet took the stunning lines of the Bel Air and stretched them into a 2-door wagon with stainless steel roof pillars and more glass than most houses. It was impractical, expensive, and absolutely gorgeous. Only 8,103 were built in 1956, making it one of the rarest Tri-5 Chevys you can find. Clint's Nomad is finished in onyx black over Matador red, with a 265 cubic inch V8 and a 3-speed manual transmission. He's owned this one longer than almost any other car, and his collection picked it up in the late 60s when he was just starting to make real money in Hollywood. Everyone thought he was crazy for spending that much on an old wagon. Turns out, that crazy investment is now worth 10 times what he paid. But Clint's never selling. He said in interviews that this car reminds him of family road trips and a simpler time in America. It's not about the money, it's about the memories. Number 7. The 1968 Ford Mustang GT 428 Cobra Jet. Alright, this is the one I promised would blow your mind. You're probably thinking a 68 Mustang? Come on, those are everywhere. But you'd be wrong, because this isn't just any Mustang. This is one of the original 428 Cobra Jet cars, and it's got a story that'll make your jaw drop. When Ford introduced the 428 Cobra Jet in April 1968, they created a legend. This engine was specifically designed to dominate drag strips, and it did exactly that. Ford officially rated it at 335 horsepower, but that was laughable. These engines were making well over 400 horsepower at the crank and 450 pounds-to-foot of torque. They could run low 13-second quarter miles right off the showroom floor. But here's the kicker about Clint's car: it was originally ordered by a Ford dealer in Montana who was also a racer. He special ordered it with every performance option available: 4-speed transmission, 3.91 Detroit locker rear end, drag pack cooling, and he even deleted all the GT badges to make it a true sleeper. Only about 50 cars were built this way, and most of them were destroyed at the drag strip. Clint found this car in the most unlikely place, a barn in Nevada, in the early 2000s. The original owner had passed away, and his family had no idea what they had. It was covered in dust, sitting on flat tires, but all the original paperwork was there. Clint bought it, had it mechanically restored, but kept the original patina on the paint. It's not perfect, it's got rock chips and faded clear coat, but it's real. And in a world of over-restored trailer queens, real is worth more than perfect. Number 6. The 1953 Buick Skylark. Let's talk about luxury for a minute. The 1953 Skylark represented Buick's 50th anniversary, and they didn't hold back. This was essentially a hand-built car, with every example receiving special attention on the assembly line. Only 1,690 Skylarks were built in 1953, and each one cost $5,000. That's about $57,000 in today's money. For context, you could buy a regular Buick for under $2,000. What did you get for that extra cash? A chopped windshield, custom interior, wire wheels, and the most powerful V8 Buick offered. But more than that, you got exclusivity. These cars were built for Hollywood stars and business titans. Clint's Skylark is finished in Grecian white with a red and white leather interior. The story of how he got it is pure Hollywood. He was dining at a restaurant in Beverly Hills in the 80s when he noticed it parked outside. He left a note on the windshield with his phone number and a simple message: "If you ever want to sell this car, call me." 3 years later, the owner called. They met for coffee, shook hands, and made a deal. No haggling, no drama, just two people who appreciated what the car represented. Now here's my question for you folks watching: what do you think matters more in a collection like this, the rarity of the car or the story behind how it was acquired? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, because I'm genuinely curious what you all think. Number 5. The 1970 Plymouth Hemi Cuda. We need to talk about the elephant in the room, or should I say, the Barracuda in the garage. The 1970 Hemi Cuda is arguably the most valuable American muscle car ever built, and Clint's been sitting on one for decades. Let me throw some numbers at you. Plymouth built only 652 Hemi Cudas in 1970. Of those, only 284 were hardtops. Clint's car is one of those hardtops, finished in tour red with a black interior, 4-speed transmission, and the full performance package. Today, these cars sell for over $2 million at auction. But Clint's not selling. The 426 Hemi was the king of engines: dual 4-barrel carburetors, forged internals, hemispherical combustion chambers that gave it the name. It made 425 horsepower officially, but like most muscle car ratings, that was conservative. These engines could easily handle 600-plus horsepower with minimal modifications. Clint bought this car brand new. Let that sink in for a second. He walked into a Plymouth dealership in 1970, saw this beast on the showroom floor, and bought it on the spot. He drove it for a few years, then wisely tucked it away in climate-controlled storage. It's still got the original tires in the trunk, the original window sticker, even the dealer promotional materials. It's a perfect time capsule from the golden age of American muscle, and it's never been modified or restored. The paint is original. The interior is original. Everything is exactly as Plymouth intended. Number 4. The 1958 Chevrolet Impala Convertible. The '58 Impala represented the birth of an icon. This was the first year Chevrolet used the Impala nameplate, and they introduced it as their new top-of-the-line model. With its quad headlights, triple taillights, and enough chrome to supply a small mine, it was the definition of late '50s success. What makes Clint's car special is the powertrain. Under that hood sits the rare 348 cubic inch V8 with 3 2-barrel carburetors, what Chevy called the tri-power setup. This combination was only available for 1 year, making it incredibly rare. Combined with the convertible body style and loaded with options, only a few hundred cars like this were built. Clint's Impala is finished in Snowcrest white over charcoal, with a Continental kit on the back and factory wire wheels. He found this one at an estate auction in Monterey, bidding against several other serious collectors. The car had been owned by a successful business owner who bought it new and kept it as his pride and joy until he passed away in the late 90s. It had been professionally maintained its entire life, with every service documented. What Clint loves about this car is that it represents optimism. The late 50s were a time when America believed anything was possible, when bigger was better, and when style mattered as much as substance. This Impala captures all of that in sheet metal and chrome. Number 3, the 1932 Ford Deuce Coupe. We're in the top 3 now, and things are about to get serious. The 32 Ford the Deuce is the single most important car in hot rod history. It's the foundation everything else was built on. But finding one that's still original? That's nearly impossible. Most Deuces were immediately modified. They were cheap, plentiful, and easy to work on, which made them perfect hot rod platforms. Today, there are probably 10,000 modified Deuces for every original survivor. Clint's car is one of those survivors, and it's spectacular. This is a 3-window coupe with the original 4-cylinder engine, the original 3-speed transmission, and even the original mohair interior. The paint is 93 years old and shows it, but that's part of the charm. This car has patina that you can't fake and history you can't recreate. Clint found this Deuce in the most unlikely place. It was being used as a parts car at a restoration shop in Sacramento. The shop owner had bought it years earlier, intending to strip it for parts for a customer's hot rod project. Clint happened to stop by looking for something else, saw the Deuce sitting in the corner, and recognized what it was. He made an offer the shop owner couldn't refuse and saved it from being dismantled. He's never restored it, never modified it, and rarely drives it. It sits in his collection as a reminder of what these cars originally were before hot rod culture transformed them into something else. It's automotive archaeology, preserved in steel and rust. Number 2, the 1971 Plymouth Roadrunner Hemi. Here's where things get absolutely insane. You thought the 70 Hemi Cuda was rare? The 1971 Hemi Roadrunner makes the Cuda look common. Plymouth only built 55 Hemi Roadrunners in 1971. Let me say that again, 55. Total. In the entire world. By 1971, the muscle car era was dying. Insurance costs were skyrocketing, emissions regulations were tightening, and gas prices were climbing. The Hemi engine was expensive to build and barely profitable. Plymouth knew it was the end, so they offered the Hemi one last time, knowing almost nobody would order it. Clint's Roadrunner is one of those 55, and it's even rarer because it's one of only a handful built with a 4-speed manual transmission. It's finished in citron yellow, a color so bright it hurts to look at, with a black vinyl top and black interior. It's got the cartoon Roadrunner decals, the beep beep horn, and absolutely zero pretense about what it is, a barely civilized race car with license plates. The story of how Clint got this car is almost unbelievable. In the early 2000s, he was at a charity event in Los Angeles when he overheard someone talking about their father's old Plymouth that had been sitting in a garage for 30 years. Clint's ears perked up. He casually asked what kind of Plymouth. When the person said, "I think it's a Roadrunner with some big engine," Clint nearly spit out his drink. Long story short, he tracked down the car, and sure enough, it was a Hemi car. The owner had no idea what he had just thought it was a neat muscle car his dad had bought new. Clint educated him on the rarity, and together they agreed on a fair price that reflected the car's true value. It's a testament to Clint's character that he didn't try to lowball someone who didn't know what they had. Number 1, the 1964 Aston Martin DB5. And here we are, folks, number 1. Now I can already hear you screaming at your screens, "That's not American. That's British. You said this was about American cars." And you're absolutely right. But here's why this car deserves the top spot in Clint's collection, and why it perfectly represents the man himself. This isn't just any DB5. This is one of the original cars used in promotional materials for a little film called Goldfinger. While it's not the actual film car that one's worth tens of millions, it was used for print advertising and promotional events. But that's not why it's number 1. This DB5 represents something that defines Clint's entire collecting philosophy. He's never been a snob about origin or pedigree. He appreciates excellence regardless of where it comes from. This car, with its 4.0-liter straight-six, its elegant Italian design by Carrozzeria Touring, and its perfect balance of performance and luxury, represents the pinnacle of automotive achievement in the 1960s. Clint acquired this car in the late 70s, right around the time he was becoming a director and taking more control of his career. He said the DB5 reminded him that sometimes you need to appreciate the best, even if it comes from outside your comfort zone. It taught him to be open-minded, to recognize quality even when it challenges your preconceptions. The car is finished in silver birch with a red leather interior, exactly as it appeared in the promotional materials. It's been maintained meticulously but never restored, preserving its originality and history. Clint drives it occasionally on coastal roads near his home in Carmel, where locals have gotten used to seeing the legendary actor behind the wheel of the legendary spy car. So there you have it, folks, 15 of the rarest cars in Clint Eastwood's collection, and honestly, we've only scratched the surface. What makes this collection special isn't just the rarity or the value of these vehicles. It's the philosophy behind it. Clint's never collected cars as investments or status symbols. Every vehicle in his garage represents something, a memory, a moment in history, a principle he believes in. He's preserved pieces of American automotive heritage that others would have modified or destroyed. He's driven these cars, enjoyed them, and shared his passion with anyone who's genuinely interested. His collection tells the story of American automotive history from the Depression through the muscle car era and beyond. It's a testament to a time when cars had personality, when designs were bold, and when horsepower wasn't just a number but a philosophy. What can we learn from Clint's approach? Maybe it's that the best collections aren't about having the most expensive or the most famous cars. They're about having vehicles that mean something to you, that tell a story, that preserve history. It's about appreciation, not accumulation. Before we wrap up, if you enjoyed this deep dive into automotive history and want to see more content like this, more legendary collections, more rare cars, more stories from the golden age of American automotive excellence, make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. And if you learned something new today, throw a like on this video. It helps the YouTube algorithm show this content to other folks who appreciate classic iron as much as we do. And here's my final thought for you. Clint Eastwood understood something that a lot of collectors miss. These cars aren't just machines, they're rolling sculptures, time capsules, and reminders of what we're capable of when we prioritize passion over practicality. In an age of appliance-like transportation, his collection stands as a monument to a time when cars had soul. So the next time you see an old car rotting away in someone's yard or gathering dust in a barn, remember that might be the next great piece of automotive history waiting to be preserved. Maybe you can be the one to save it. Thanks for watching, folks. Until next time, keep the shiny side up and the rubber side down.